Hi, my name is Larry Jordan, and welcome to this Power Up webinar on creating a successful webinar, or screencast, or even live video streaming. What I want to do today is take a step back and have a conversation with you about what's involved in putting a webinar together, what webinars are, what questions you need to ask yourself or your clients, and what equipment you're going to need to be able to take and put all this together. A webinar is a seminar or event, generally live, that's offered via the internet. It can consist of presentation slides, audio, video, and/or screenshots of software. In many cases, it uses standard audio and video production techniques, but delivers them exclusively over the internet. And this, to me, is why it's so exciting for us to talk about this today, because webinars are a great new business opportunity that we can offer to our clients, which build on skills that we already have while offering a new delivery mechanism. So today's session is designed to help you think through all the issues that go into producing a webinar, then show you what it takes to run a session. Webinars give us a new way to go to our clients and pitch new services based upon what we already know. That doesn't take us a whole large learning curve, but generates a new revenue source for us from our clients. Topics that I want to cover today is planning. There's a lot of stuff we have to plan. A lot of this I learned the hard way as we were putting our own webinars together here. Then we'll talk briefly about distribution options, talk about audio and video hardware requirements, both for doing webcasts and for doing live video streaming. I'll show you what I use to create my webinars and how to save and export your files and what file formats to support, and provide some thoughts on the overall process. The bulk of our time this morning is going to be looking at the planning process, because as with all productions, proper planning makes sure that you can do the job properly. As my company has learned over the last 7 months, planning is critical to the success of any presentation. And so here's some of the categories to consider: the business side, registration, content, marketing, technical, and staffing. If we take a look first at the business elements, a webinar puts you in direct one-to-one contact with your key customers. So you need to carefully consider who's doing the presenting and the impact they will have. A lot of the marketing materials that we put together just sort of get cast broadly upon the waters, and some people see them and don't care, and other people see them and do. But there's a sense of one removed step when you're doing a lot of marketing or video commercials. But not so with webinars. With webinars, it's a one-to-one relationship between the presenter and the people in the audience that are watching the presentation. And these people are directly interested in exactly what that webinar has to talk about. Witness yourself today. The reason you're watching this is not because you're bored and have nothing else to do, but because you have very specific ideas in mind of how you can take this information and apply it in your own business. So you need to ask yourself, what's the goal of the webinar that you're putting on? Is it to increase your marketing, increase your visibility, train staff or customers, or generate revenue for the company? None of these are good or bad in and of themselves, but they directly affect the kind of webinar you're going to present, because to do something for visibility would be done entirely different than if you wanted to drill down and provide very specific training, say for your sales staff or engineering team. Registration, I think, is the one area that really surprised us as we were putting our webinars together. Now, we knew we had to register people, but what we didn't know is how much we really needed to think through the entire registration process. How are you going to register people? Where are people going to sign up? How do you acknowledge that they've registered? How do you process payments that are associated with the registration? What pre-event reminders do you need? What do you need to track, and how will you track it? Do you need to put an entirely different database together? What we've ended up doing is we've ended up putting 2 different databases together. One is the list of people that are attending each webinar, and the second is a FileMaker database that we use for tracking all of our registrations, so we know what people have attended and how often they've attended, and do we have people that are attending more than one event. And then how do you handle no-shows? Now, when people are paying money, they will most often attend something they're spending the money for. But if you're doing an event for visibility or for marketing purposes, most often you're going to make that free. Registration, the back end, the databases, how they sign up, the forms, the processing, the money alone, all this stuff needs to be very carefully thought through.